Okay, so we're all rushing to get AI assistants into our workflow, right? For that big productivity boost. But what if that same helpful assistant could be turned against you? That's the pretty eye-opening warning coming from new research that was just unveiled at the Black Hat Cybersecurity Conference.
And this quote from Greg Zemlin at Zenity Labs, it just cuts right to the chase. This isn't about some minor glitches or bugs we're talking about. It's about a complete takeover, turning a tool that's supposed to help you into a weapon for sabotage, for disruption, and for spreading misinformation. That's the core threat we're going to dig into.
So you might be thinking, okay, this probably affects some obscure app I've never heard of. But nope. The researchers found this vulnerability in the biggest names in the industry, the very platforms that millions of us put our trust in every single day.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, and Salesforce. The exact tools that so many people are adopting for that productivity boost are the very ones that researchers discovered were susceptible to a complete takeover.
So how does this even happen? You'd think it would involve, tricking you into clicking some sketchy link or something. But that's the scary part. That's not it at all. The research from Zenity Labs showed these AI agents can be hijacked directly, with very little or sometimes even zero interaction from the user.
And it actually gets a little worse. This isn't just a one-and-done kind of attack. The researchers found that hackers could achieve something called memory persistence. In plain English, that just means they can get long-term access and control over the AI. They're not just in and out, they can stick around, turning your trusted assistant into a persistent spy that's always on.
So if you don't have to click anything, how in the world are hackers getting in? Well, the methods the researchers showed off are, honestly, they're shockingly effective.
Just look at this table. It really lays out how real this gets. For instance, with ChatGPT, a simple poisoned email could give a hacker the keys to your entire Google Drive. Or, get this, they tricked a Microsoft Copilot support bot into leaking a company's whole customer database. Each platform had a different weak spot, but the result was the same. Trusted AIs were turned into tools for sealing data and causing chaos.
And if you're thinking this is just a rare bug they found in a lab, think again. Out in the wild, researchers found over 3,000 vulnerable Microsoft Copilot agents just sitting there at risk of leaking internal information. That is a massive, massive potential attack surface. So, okay, an attacker gets in. What's the worst that can happen? Well, pretty much everything you'd be worried about. They can steal sensitive data, they can mess with critical workflows, and they can even impersonate users to their own colleagues. They can sabotage operations from the inside and spread misinformation over a long period of time. The potential for damage here is just enormous.
All right, after hearing all that, I know what you're probably thinking. What are the big tech companies doing about this? Is anyone fixing this? And the good news is, yes. The researchers handled this the right way, which led to a pretty swift response from the companies involved.
Before they went public with this at the conference, Zenity Labs told all the companies what they found. And, to their credit, a lot of them jumped on it immediately, pushing out patches and fixes to close these security holes.
Here's a quote directly from Microsoft. They basically said, hey, thanks to Zenity for finding this and telling us responsibly, these specific attacks don't work anymore. It really shows they're taking this stuff seriously, which is exactly what you want to see.
And it wasn't just Microsoft playing defense. You had OpenAI pushing out a patch for ChatGPT, Salesforce confirming their specific issue was fixed, and Google rolling out new layered defenses. It was like a rapid-fire coordinated effort across the whole industry to plug these major holes.
So, problem solved, right? Well, not exactly. These specific holes might be patched, but what this whole thing really pulls the curtain back on is a much bigger issue. We are in a frantic race between deploying powerful new AI and actually figuring out how to secure it.
And this is the fundamental tension, right? On one hand, you have companies pushing for everyone to adopt AI to boost productivity. But on the other hand, you have the security experts waving their arms, shouting that the tech is just moving way too fast for the security to keep up.
And this quote from Itai Ravia really hits the nail on the head. He's basically saying that the very building blocks these tech giants are giving us to create AIs, they just don't have enough security baked in from the start. And that puts all the pressure, all the responsibility, right on the shoulders of the individual companies trying to use them.
I think this is the perfect way to describe what's happening. Experts at the conference said that generative AI has grown arms and legs. And what they mean is, it's not just a chatbot anymore. It's not just generating text.
These AIs can now actually do things. They can access your apps, they can send emails, they can interact with the world for you. And that completely changes the game when it comes to risk.
And that growing power, it leaves us with one final and really critical question. As AI keeps growing these arms and legs, getting more and more autonomous every day, whose job is it to keep it safe? Is it the people who build it, the companies who use it, or is it on us, the users? Honestly, that's the big question we all need to start figuring out, and fast.